In the late 19th century, another large fortress was constructed here near Warsaw, near one of their large castles north of the city. The Russian fortress erected here from 1892 to 95 was to defend the crossing of the Nara River north of Warsaw. It was modernized in 1906 to 08. Now, I am still working on getting into the large central fort, as it was operated by the Polish military until the early 2000s. Now, I know this fortified area and forts were attacked during World War I, and I know the Germans used it for World War II. And before 1939, it was of course also used by the Polish military, as were all the buildings I'm going to show you. So we're going to have to start with the two outer powder stores, or depending where I read up on these, crew shelters. However, I have a pretty good idea what they were, and they're located right on the river. So let's take a look at these because they're in really good shape. So I'm going to go into this fort because I want to sit inside of this fort somehow.
And how does it look like there?
Oh, it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, I just, can't see the floor. Yeah, no, this is cool. Oh, here's the floor. Well, this is the front door that is locked from the inside. Now this is probably, from what I can see, the original door, because this series door. Now, it was upgraded in the decade before World War I, and I'm seeing what looks like a collapsed tunnel. Yeah, this looks like, well, yeah, no, this is the tunnel that's running behind the powder magazine next to me. So there's no reason for me to jump that. I'm looking at cement. This was built late 1800s? Was that late 1881 or something? 1892. So, by the Russians, but here, this must be powder magazine. But it's here in the back. Around here is the little hallway. So you can go back here, and you can place a light in here behind a glass plate. That will light up the powder magazine without a chance of setting off a spark and setting off the powder. Right there, there'd be a little light in there. Oh, so this is what that is. There's a lot of the history we really don't know about this after the beginning of World War I, but there's electricity here. And there was some very heavy steel shutters in front of the... Now, I thought this was going to be firing positions, because that makes sense that there'll be firing position out facing the water. But right in front of the powder magazine, I mean, that seems a little bit, I don't know, unsafe. Electrical, probably from the late 40s. They have something that looks like firing points facing the water side. Now there should be, but if these are powder stores, there really shouldn't be a cannon position that might result in return fire straight into the powder store. Anyway. I mean, having the firing position right next to the powder magazine, that just seems really, I don't know, stupid. Another powder magazine. And then more down here. And here's another. This would be the infantry exit, where the infantry could sortie out to. Probably there'll be cannons out front here, or they'll be able to fire from here. But this is not for cannons. This is at the very least for rifle fire. There's steel shutter. I guess there could be a cannon attached to this. Now we're looking at 1885 to 1920s weapons installation amount. I thought these would be for a steel shutter for the window. I could be wrong. to be honest. I guess you could mount a weapon platform on here with a lateral pin for a heavy machine gun, but it's a waterway defense. So a machine gun's not really what you want to shoot at ships. They have to be a cannon, at least a 40mm, preferably something bigger. I'm a little intrigued because I don't actually know what this was. So, but this I'm going to have to look into. That was a heavy steel door on here, and again, a heavy steel door right in front of the powder magazine window. It's a little bit of a chance, I'll say. All these are powder magazines, straightforward, and all of these, I have to think they're firing positions, because why else would there be waterway mounts? And this is all there really is to this. Or as I call this, exit. I'll try to get in and out of this, but yeah, this is not really moving. I think these are original doors. And this was the way, the walkway behind the powder magazines, which is not as exciting as it may sound. It's literally just the hallway you would use to light up, to put lights in the windows of the powder magazine. See, now we're behind the powder magazines, where you put little lights in the windows right here. Bricks wouldn't have been here. I'm just curious if there might be a hallway leading away from here, just for the sake of looking, but there's nothing. That's all right. Okay, so this is what there is. A sea fortress. There's some fairly thick walls, built in cement and stone. Actually, I think this is all cement. All the bricks are what people did afterwards, just to, I don't know what they did in here, but so defense of the waterway. This would be assisted by Modlin. It's one of these outdated forts that will protect the entrance. Is this the sail entrance to Warsaw? Can you sail to Warsaw this way?
There's no, it's not.
So a few hundred meters further up the river is the next fortress defending the waterway. And it's got to say, location, location, location. And it looks heavily reinforced on top. The steel shutters look like they're still in place. All the must be firing ports leading out to the water. It simply must be. I'll say it looks, at first look, pretty much like a smaller version of the first fort. Here's the little tunnel leads behind the powder magazines. This would be a powder magazine, and there used to be a wall here. And there's bars in front of the window. Interesting. There's no way the powder magazines were not blocked in by a wall here. There absolutely was a wall here. And you can see, you can follow it all the way up in the indent. That wall has been removed, not by locals for the stone, but for a purpose. It was nicely, neatly removed and painted over at some point. That's actually rather interesting. And then, well, there's no bars in front of that window, and I certainly hadn't expected any. I find it rather weird that there's bars in the first place. These have just been covered up in different ways for different reasons by locals, I would imagine. So, last powder magazine. See the windows with the lights in the back have been bricked up. Somebody used this at some point for something, storage or what have you after. That's why the reconstruction. This gate looks fairly original, although quite damaged. This doesn't look like natural decay. This looks like an explosion of sorts. I'm wondering if this is an original opening. I really don't understand that there would be such a large gate right here. In the firing side, this could be something new that has been put in for whatever it was used for after original construction ended. I really don't think this is an original opening. There would have been a firing port here because, yeah, this is something that happened post. You're right in front of the powder magazine with a huge hole in the direction of the enemy. That makes no sense. Not at all. So, now I think this shutter, the bars doesn't, but the shutter certainly looks original. That's an interesting hatch there. This brick wall is post-construction, I think. Lots of electrical ran around this. I think this was used for something in one of the post-World War I wars. I would almost find it strange if it wasn't. Just going to take a look behind the munition stores here to see if that's any indication of what it is. This certainly changed hands back to the Polish in 1918 after the Treaty of Versailles. It certainly was fought over or involved in the fight in 1920 by the Poles against the Russians, and it most certainly was at least looked at by the Germans in 1939. But who did with it then, don't know. Looks like ventilation, but these are the hatches into the munition stores. This groove, I have not seen before, but that's all there is. It's just a hallway. Cement, stone.
Now clearly these are powder stores, and in 1908 they had huge ventilation pipes fitted for better ventilation.
Just look at all that electrical on the wall, all these cables. I can't really discern when, but it does look, I really cannot tell you. A non-original insert. This is rating. 5, 10, 18, 35, 68, 74, 80, 99. What the? Why? It doesn't have to be original, but again, it may have something to do with the post-war use. Almost look like a worker's coat hanger in a factory, doesn't it? If I didn't know any better, I would almost think the bars were original, because that steel gate is. But that doesn't make much sense unless this was simply storage, not a firing department. And you wouldn't have a storage facing the enemy. Look at all the electrical. I mean, I could see World War II having, I could see the Germans during World War II having used some of this for storage. And put some lights in here. Just throwing out ideas. Okay. That's different. Not particularly interesting, but it's different. There's a little room here. There was a light. Long over the light, like they would have in World War II. Huh. Green door. And the tunnel down to the munition store. Research is needed. But we'll just go out and just for a minute enjoy the view. And then on to the next. Here in the water is what looks like a floating dock of some sorts. Rusted through. It doesn't look like a civilian construction, I'll say. If any of you guys have seen anything like this, it looks like it would connect to something. I'm just saying that opening there, that must be cement is damaged inside, but it has to be post-war. There's no solid reason why you would put anything like that there.
So, until I get into the large central fort here, there's little else I can tell you or show you for this area. Of course, it's littered with bunkers and fortresses. But let me see if the next couple of days will not get me someone with a key. Behind me is Vanna von Braun's first test stand. Down the road is Diebner's nuclear reactor. Over there is the Maginot Line and all its amazing forts. I'm visiting them all and I'm bringing them to you. So I really appreciate you like, follow, and share what I'm doing, trying to document all these important historical locations. And if you feel like you want to watch more pictures or documents that I use for these, go to lostbattlefields.com. And if you feel like helping me out with my travels, because gasoline and travel and airfare is expensive, my PayPal is there, protectionserviceinc.com. You are more than welcome, but you don't have to. I appreciate all your support and all your help, and I love seeing these locations, and I love bringing them to you.